It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Elijah, Nima, Akashat, Zibiri, how are you doing today?
Grateful. I'm grateful to God. I'm recovering. And there was one thing I wanted to share. I can't remember immediately now. But I had a very, very reflective experiences that I visited a friend. She's been ill for a while, and it's something to reflect on. You know, there are times when you're strong, there are other times we're so distracted with all that is happening around us, and that sort of put me back to reality that, you know, there's so much more happening in other people's lives. The videos from Syria, I keep sharing with my kids every day. In Syria now, there are areas where children are eating grass because there's no food, no aid getting to them. And the pictures popping up on the pages.
I don't see this on mainstream media though.
Sharing it for some people is not so... on social media, imagine, there's a doc I shared, catwalking doc on my page, that has gotten over 400,000 views. Imagine I've been sharing other things, but that doc, my husband was just there and he popped up, and the doc, I was like, this doc captions my reply to you, and
so it shows where our attention is.
Our attention is really.
We'll come to you, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm great. Children are doing well.
Always like this hair.
Yes, you do. Just, you know, the children will be going back to school at the end of this week.
Physical school?
Oh, yes. I don't know if I'm ready for it yet, but, you know, something that we'll be looking. So they'll be doing online, and this is the second time we're doing it, and I figured that it doesn't work for us.
Right.
Because it just feels like they're at home and just having fun anyway. So there's no studying after. You know, physical school, you know that you're done with school and then you study after. This one is like, I've been studying anyway, there's nothing to do. But we'll see.
How are you doing, Benjamin?
Doing amazing. I'm getting ready for my course that will be starting on the 6th March. And I'm deliberately focusing on helping people to clear their money blocks. Some of the things that sabotage their financial success. So I know that a lot of people want to have that resources come in, but somehow there are money blocks and limiting money beliefs that sort of stop you. So I'm going to take people through 30 days of helping them identify those money blocks and breaking them. And let's see how we go from there. That's what I'm getting ready for.
I'm pretty excited because my book is ready. I'm getting delivered on Friday. I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to see it. I'll be having a book launch. I was supposed to have it sometime in March, but I think it's going to be end of March. I'm really thinking the last day in March. We'll see what we can do. But I'm really happy. Finally, it's out, you know, so I can't wait to touch it. Dr. Morai. I will put Dr. It doesn't matter. We know. I just wanted that the doctor phase will come after. This is a story before to the point. So I wanted to just pure Morai for everyone. And
amazing.
It's called the Making. I can't remember the name of the book. But definitely with so I can't wait to just.
That will tell your story, basically.
Tell my journey from birth. You know how I found myself, how I found purpose, and how I went to the US. The lessons I learned, the connections I made. Coming back to Nigeria, starting over, the depression. It talks about. No, don't tell us anything. Don't tell us anything. Everybody that who has read, like my brothers, I heard, this is a fantastic document. This is a good book, and it's going to help a lot of people to know that no matter what you do in life, just stay on the course. Things will come. Just stay on that course to get to your destination. So I'm really, really excited.
Ginger, they're ready.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. I hear you loud and clear, President-elect tells youths. Jam sacks 2 over alleged forgery. Excited Osho Ondo residents celebrate Tinubu. Tinubu's victory excites capital market. Poll results reflect will of Nigerians, says Buhari. And EFEC OK's African Union Convention on border operations. Okay, so which story are we starting with the nation?
I took Nima to Riverbank's residence. Yes, from inside. Not Nima, Nema. Oh my God. So the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has said some of the flood victims of last year have not recovered from the impacts. Last year, they had 662 persons died, while 3,174 others suffered injuries, and 2,430,445 individuals were displaced by the floods. According to the 2023 annual flood outlook released by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, they're saying now that about 178 local government areas across 32 states and the Federal Capital Territory will experience severe flooding. This one is for this year. And they said following the onset of the rainfall, NEMA has urged residents of the river banks to relocate to safer places. So the NEMA's Director General Mustafa Ahmed spoke yesterday in Abuja at a technical meeting to develop preparedness and mitigation strategies that would help them tackle the climate-related disasters during this year's raining season. And he said it's very important that the people who are living in those riverine-prone areas would have to relocate so that it will, reduce the impact of the flood. And, they are also working on how they can help them to reduce some of the effects of the flood. And everybody, they said they are announcing this now. People need to pay attention. State government, local government, if you know that you have people who are in those areas, begin to get them arranged to relocate from those areas. So I think they want to go round different local governments in different languages to get people to understand, and we'll have to keep talking about this on TV as well.
All right, so the president-elect has said that he has heard the youth loud and clear. He was saying this during his acceptance speech yesterday. He said, I will work with the utmost of my ability to make Nigerian youths better. I understand your pains, your yearnings for good governance, a functional economy, and a safe nation that protects you and your future. He also said that I know many of you did not vote for me, and you're disappointed that your candidate is not where I now stand. I understand your hurt. To you, I extend and embrace comfort of one family member to one another. This project is for us all, and we must embrace the victory for us, and it's going to work with Nigerian youth. I think that was a good caveat to throw in that speech when he was speaking, because the Nigerian youth, many of them didn't vote for him, and I think he acknowledges that, and it's important that the Nigerian youth can see that he is willing to work with them. Okay, another story.
Yeah, so I've got JAM has sacked 2 of his staff members for allegedly forging some documents. The only sad thing about this report is I wish they specifically said what documents. Maybe other papers have it. And he's saying that they've been called before they were called before the disciplinary committee, and the staff members were and then the staff members were asked to hand over their ID cards, and it was really, they were dismissed for what they call serious misconduct. And the board noted that the dismissal was in line with Public Service Rule 030401, which defines serious misconduct as specific acts of serious wrongdoing and improper behavior, which is inimical to the image of the service, and which can be investigated, and if proven, may lead to dismissal. So they've been dismissed for allegedly forging. Not allegedly, for forging a document.
So I have
or some documents.
The economic side to things. According to this report in the Nation, Tinubu's emergence will boost investors' confidence. And the Chief Executive Officer for the Center of Promotion of Private Enterprise, the CPP, Muda Yusuf, said that his emergence would have a positive impact on the economic and boost investors. The Nation also carried the report of how investors are looking positively to return to the country with their investments, things that have been negatively reported over the past few years. People are looking to come back, they're becoming more encouraged to come And generally, you know.
Okay. Moving on now to the Punch. Tinubu's Atiku Obi as parties reject results. Emilio Cobb, the kingmaker who became the king. Banks' assets rise to 73 trillion naira, says CBN. Grants Nigerians visas on arrival, FG tells India. Obi, the trader who changed the game. Marketers to sanction depots, filling stations overpricing fuel. Okay, which story are we taking?
I have a human interest story inside the papers. Said a yet to be identified male adult has slumped and died during an argument over a parking space at a supermarket on Admiralty Way in Lekki area of Lagos. According to the story, said the deceased driver went to the supermarket on Friday, February 24th, to purchase some items for his employer, and he was trying to park his vehicle properly. A member of the staff of the supermarket came out to direct him to park, but he refused the guy and parked wherever he liked. And so they started having an argument, and before they realized it, they had, according to the eyewitness, they had started throwing punches, and he fell and slumped. And while people gathered around him trying to revive him, they poured him water, but he had fainted and he died from there. So the owner of the vehicle now came a few hours later to find look for the driver and realize what had happened. And so he came back threatening to sue and to arrest the supermarket's, staff, that he's a customer in that place. He's been coming, they know him, they shouldn't beat up his staff that way. The domestic, but the supermarket people were saying we didn't touch him, we had nothing to do with him, we're just exchanging words when he slumped. But the domestic staff that accompanied the driver said they actually had a physical fight, and that led to the thing.
Okay, so according to the Deputy Governor, Deputy Governor Financial System Stability Directorate of the CBN, Aisha Ahmed, total assets of the banking industry grew to about 14.3 trillion naira, or about 24.24% from 59.24 trillion naira at the end of December 2021 to 73.59 trillion naira in the corresponding year 2022. And she says this is also largely due to some of these policies that we saw towards the end of the year. Oh, really? Last year, that these policies also assisted the banks. Total credits also increased from 5.4 trillion between the end of December 2021 to the end of December 2022, with a significant growth in credit to manufacturing, general commerce, oil and gas sector, and all of that. Right. These are positive numbers she's giving from their side, but does it translate to ease for the
all right, so there's
that? But the report didn't carry how it affects our common man.
Sorry, I thought you were done. Okay. All right, so there's an interesting article here by Dirisu Yakubu. It says, Obi, the trader who changed the game. He wrote about how the game-changing performance of the candidate of the LP in just concluded elections, how he pulled millions of votes. According to him, he said what started as a joke a few months ago has morphed into what we now call the third force. It's Obi and his No Shishi campaign with the political philosophy was single-handedly mastered by young people who pushed him to lots of victories, which was unexpected. So it was a really, really interesting article, which I think many Nigerians should read. It says Obi's huge success base derives in part from the central youth groups made up of artisans, students, musicians, entertainers, and social media influencers who deployed their mastery of the social media to drum support for him. And it's an interesting article to just show the importance of youth votes in the future coming elections.
Yeah, so we also have the G20 meeting that's happening in India and New Delhi, and the foreign minister is there. The foreign affairs minister, Jeffrey Emma, is there, and they said that this meeting really was supposed to talk about the relationship, bilateral relationship, and strengthening that relationship with India. And while paying tribute to the blossoming bilateral relationship between India and Nigeria, Yema stressed the need to further strengthen the economic, trade, and investment cooperation for mutual benefit for both countries. And so he mentioned that as a reciprocal, he says that India should grant visa on arrival to Nigerians as a reciprocal gesture. And I was wondering, is this something we already offer India? And if it is, why is it one-sided? Yeah. So I would like to hear what the outcome of this request will be, because if we are doing that to you, you should reciprocate. We have lots of Indians doing a lot of business here. You know, they've even become Nigerians, many of them.
Let's get a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ask questions if I want to ask questions. And if it's something that I saw coming, I may not even ask questions. I may just... I may even tell you I saw this coming.
What if it's in person? But then, would it make a difference where? So, like, this person might just say, you people can just be on 3rd Mainland Bridge. On a bike. And the person say, babe, I cannot do it again. And you lose range. So, what would change? What would change the scenario? For, like, does it matter where? Do you want to have like a fancy dinner, like the film you were meant to be talking about?
Finding your
And then, or do you want to be on the street?
Don't carry me go fancy dinner.
Or you might just una dey run for treadmill.
Or you not a joke.
Don't tell you lose for your web.
Now I don't turn attempted murder.
So which would it be? Because I'm like, in person you have the closure that you want and the few injuries.
Guys, that's one place. It could be inside the car. You can sit down inside the car.
Why car? Why not bike?
Who will be driving?
Why bike?
Who will be
No,
driving
now
at
the
this
car will
point?
be stationary.
Pray I'm not the one driving.
The car
Just
will be
pray.
stationary.
Because I'll go master. You can't be telling me like me, I'm going to drive near water.
All
You
of
must
us.
consider.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of...
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to move on to Daily Sun. Tinubu, I'll work with everybody. Polls, UK urges FG to look into the concerns of opposition. Will change election outcome in court, Obi's running mate says. JAM dismisses 2 staff over professional misconduct. No hard feelings losing Senate seat, says Ikpeazu. House Majority Leader Al-Hassan Adogudu were arrested, remanded in Kano prison. Boy admits fault in the electoral process, encourages agreed parties to seek justice in court. Okay, which story?
I love the story that I took, and this is Abia State Governor Okezi Ikpeazu, who's lost his senatorial election to Eyinaya Abaribe, and he says that for him his loss does not worry him. See, this is the sort of spirit that I expect from
this season.
especially in this season. So Ekwesu says that he's thankful to God for the opportunity of serving Abia State as governor for 8 years. And he says that he's also grateful that during this election, no life was lost in the election, and he was not ready to engage in any violence or spill any blood to win. He said, you win some, you lose some. And, you know, he went ahead to list what he describes as his blessing, two-time governor of that state. That's 8 years. He says he's built 200 roads, built 4 bridges, and restored peace and security, you know, and there's so many other things that he's hoping to do. And he's moved on to help with the gubernatorial elections. And he also acknowledges that there's an Obi wave, you know, in the region, and we'll see how this has impacted them socio-politically. So that is the spirit that I would like for all of us to, you know, to emulate at this time.
Right.
Okay, so another story that I like. A senior magistrate court in Kano situated at No Man's Land complex in Kano State has remanded the majority leader of the House of Reps, Alassane Ado Garba Doguwa, in prison. In the past, you would say this was impossible, but yes, he was found wanted for inciting during these elections, and his statement incited Alassane at the NNPP party office, which was raised. According to the report, the police also, based on that fire, 2 bodies were found in a burnt car and several people injured. So he was invited that, you know, they felt he was complicit in the death of 3 persons and the grievous bodily harm of 8 others because of his statement on video that he was caught to have made during his campaigns, and he did not show up at the police station. So on his way to Saudi Arabia, they waylaid him at the airport and forced him to the police station. Now, you know, they quickly arraigned him, of course, and the magistrate court remanded him in custody pending when trial proper will be done. So everybody, no man pass any man, will be made to face the book. I hope that his lawyers do a good job to get him out, but at least he's made to face the book.
Right.
Okay. The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced that Nigerians still have an opportunity to deposit their old Naira notes in their different respective banks. We know that the president had, you know, said that the 500 Naira and the 1,000 Naira are no longer legal tender in the country. However, the banks are going to be releasing the 200 Naira notes to sort of ease the cash crunch. And then people are saying that even after the presidential elections, they were expecting that, you know, the cash crunch would have been eased, that money will be in the banks, but most of the banks are still not releasing the money and people are still struggling. However, the CBN is saying that if you want to deposit your old note, you have to go to the CBN portal and you get out a code, and that code you print it out. That's where you take to the banks, and they would to the banks. You can take them to the banks now, and they will collect it. But then you have to show that printout that you've done from the CBN website. And also, if once your BVN is logged in, you cannot deposit twice. So if you're going, make sure that you have all of your money and just go once, and then they will credit and then they will credit your account. So we are looking forward to the banks releasing a lot of the 200 Naira notes. People still need money. Businesses are still suffering. As
the girl that sells plantain chips, that's what she did. She printed it out. She took all her money, like 30,000
to the bank, and they will take it.
All right. So the United Kingdom has hailed the emergence of Bola Tinubu as the president-elect. However, they said that they have called on relevant Nigerian authorities to examine all the concerns regarding the election malpractices and resolve the outstanding issues. And they should also that they restore calm to the nation. So the United Kingdom commends Nigerian voters for their participation in the elections, and also called for relevant and actually also celebrate their resilience in exercising their democratic rights. However, asked that the federal government should ensure that the concerns that have been raised must be resolved before it gets worse. Okay. Moving on quickly now to Vanguard. Tinubu extends olive branch to Atiku Obi Ekokonso. Rufai Committee's report, President-elect must respect party supremacy, says APC Vice Chairman. 10th Senate, APC leads with 51 slots. Reps Majority Leader Doguwa remanded in prison. Governorship poll, provide security in Lagos, LP urges Buhari. Poll will reclaim our mandate in court, says Obi Dati Val. And Atiku to supporters, remain calm, reclaim our stolen mandate. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I have a human interest story in the Vanguard. It said Akwa Ibom State High Court sitting in Uyo has sentenced an Awana Esian, a prophet, to 21 years in prison for raping his 10-year-old stepdaughter. So the trial judge, Justice Okonokon, handed down the judgment yesterday. The convict hails from Afaha Ise in Biono, Ibom local government area of the state, and committed this crime August 9, 2019 in his residence, Itiam Street, Uyo. So in his evidence, when he was, giving his story in the court, he said that a demon had pushed him into the act and that he forcefully removed the clothes of his stepdaughter and had carnal knowledge of her. So while they were delivering judgments, Justice Okon said that the confession was direct, positive, unequivocal, and that the Randy stepfather had sexual intercourse with his stepdaughter. So he has been, sentenced. Yes, yeah, he's been sentenced, so to speak.
So ahead of the March 11th gubernatorial elections, the LP has asked that President Muhammadu Buhari must ensure he provides adequate security operatives, because now they can pinpoint the areas where the possible violences may occur, and they should ensure that they provide enough security agencies to ensure the peoples in these areas are not disenfranchised. They also said that INEC should not use or depend on the NURTW for the distribution or the dispatch of the sensitive materials, that there are other companies, the Ubers, Taxify, Bolt, and other can be engaged for distribution, because now they see that logistics was a serious problem in Lagos, and they're asking that INEC should engage private entities going forward for the coming elections. Any other story in Vanguard? Let's move on to
the El-Rufai, party committee. The APC vice chairperson was just talking about, the inaction of the present administration on the El-Rufai committee on national and what's it called, popular word, the El-Rufai committee on the issue of national progress, where he talked about this popular word everybody wants to talk about all the time about Nigeria. Structuring. This popular word. They didn't take, this present administration didn't act on it, and that is because, the president acted as if he was above the party. He was now advising the incoming president and his own team that they are not above the party. They must submit to the supremacy of the party.
Okay. Yes, and we have the 10th Senate. Just picture of what the 10th Senate will be looking at when they resume. And it says that prior to the last Saturday's election, about 55 of the 109 senators failed to secure their return tickets from various political parties. The reasons were the failure including aspiring for higher political offices, outright loss at party primaries, and zoning arrangements in respective senatorial districts. They also talked about some senators who, they said, 30 current lawmakers will return, and that 30 of them won re-election. The ruling party has majority of the senators elect with 51 seats. Then there's 27 seats for PDP, Labour Party, LP 7 slots, NNPP 3 seats, SDP has 2 seats, and then the Young Progressive People's Party and ABGA have 1 seat each.
Fantastic. That's a beautiful, colorful National Assembly. But go ahead.
Yes,
Nigerian Tribune. I will work to make Nigeria better, says Tinubu. Maiduguri Monday market fire. Police arrest 50 suspects for alleged looting. FEC okay $61.5 million for power contracts reward. Herdsmen invade Ondo communities, destroy farms, injure farmers. We will retrieve our mandate, Atiku Okowa campaign vows. An alleged homicide reps majority leader Dogowa to be remanded in prison. Any story not taken?
Suspected herdsmen on Monday attacked farmers in Ajegunle power line community of Akure North local government area of Ondo State. Said the farmers had protested the destruction of their farms by herdsmen and their cows, which apparently infuriated the herdsmen. And the farmers raised the alarm over the attacks in their communities, which includes Agodada and Agoyibo, adding that the herdsmen destroying farms, properties, injuring farmers on their farm for some time now. And so, speaking on behalf of the farmers, Abraham Olowo said the herdsmen had attacked the communities more than 5 times in 1 week, and they are calling for urgent intervention by the state government. They said the climax was the last one that happened, and about 2 farmers were almost killed, but thankfully there was emergency rescue, and some of them had machete wounds, have been taken to the hospital. So they are asking the Governor Akeredolu, to do something about what is happening. That what they see is that the herders are trying to chase the villagers out of that place so that they can take ownership of the village.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we start with a hot topic of the day. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger,
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
Ha. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
Eh?
I said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Fellas wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Ọmọ fẹlá. Ọmọ Anikulapo Kuti. Wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's another angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting.
You wouldn't want to work with who?
There's no judgment.
No, and I
they'll
respect,
judge you
I
definitely,
respect
but we
this
won't judge
certain
you.
type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
resentment from
on you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. My just come out with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it, no, but if I find out,
when they are nice divorcees,
I would just.
What if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll just drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you are paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy people.
See this one.
Because you cannot be passing me in the morning, afternoon. I can say, oh, yeah, I'm working. Oh, yeah, take 100 naira, take 10K, take 15K. You don't have to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. Yeah. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good person.
Thanks for staying with us. So this morning we'll be discussing the lessons we've learned from the past elections that happened on Saturday. Lots of things have happened so far. We've had new third force. People are excited the fact that Many people wanted young people to come out. If you remember, for months and years, people were discussing youth involvement in politics. There's been a lot of campaigns to get young people to get their PVCs. And we could see the numbers from what we've seen, that young people came out en masse and voted for their own candidates. Even the president-elect recently said that, I know you didn't vote for me, but I will still work with you. So young people's involvement, I'd like us to discuss that. What are your thoughts on the fact that young people came out? They defied everything. They left school. They came home. Parents ensured that their kids came out to vote in communities. What are your thoughts on the fact that young people are finally being aware, they're being politically aware of the society and want to participate in elections? What are your thoughts on this? I'd like to...
Yeah, want to start? Okay. Yeah, so yesterday, actually, that was my stance about youth involvement in this particular election. And I've heard many people, I mentioned it yesterday, I've heard many people say it was a religious-leaning election, it was about ethnicity, and I totally disagree, because youths from different ethnicity, from different tribes, different religions, came out and cast their vote for who they believe was the right person that represented them, you know. And for me, it's lesson learned for all of us. One, for all of us as the electorate, that it is our responsibility how the election is finally done. It's our responsibility to see to it that when we cast our vote, we're there to watch it being counted, we're there to see it being transmitted, and you stood up and did that. Then, lesson learned for politicians, it is not the same old.
We'll come to that in a minute. We'll come to the lessons learned from the politician, because that I think is huge and humongous. But let me start with DBC. What are your thoughts on in your own polling? Did you see young people come out? How were you excited to see young people, or was it still old people that came out in your own area?
Not at all. This is the very first election I'm witnessing in Nigeria where a lot of young people paid attention. Were scared initially when they started this BBN, that this one that they've started now. Our young people will just leave that one and focus. This was the first time I was seeing young people watch TV, different TV. They're going from one channel to the other to get the news, to hear what has happened and all that. And it was quite enlightening. Even political conversations were had in my house with my kids. And they were giving me their views. I'm like, okay, how old are you again? At your age, I didn't even know my left from my right, you know. So I saw a lot of young people come out to vote for who they feel represented them, like Miriam said. They came out with their hearts. They were excited about the participation. There were conversations had. It seemed like a lot more young people are enlightened about what they want as a people. You hear people saying that our suffer we don't suffer enough, we want to change, you know. The conversation was quite rich, but I feel that we could still do more. I feel that young people did not wake up early. There were also a lot of young people who were not able to get their PVCs. There were also a lot of young people who, even though they had their PVCs, did not vote because they felt their vote will not count. There was still a lot that we need to do. And also, young people should, what I see is a lot of them stood from the top. We had not mastered the art of going to the grassroots. That is where the work is. We need to learn now and start from the
I like that, because I was really excited about this election, because my blood has been moving for the last few days, because it's exciting to see the numbers. I love the numbers in Lagos. I love the fact that it was very competitive. You know, you could see the fact that the ruling party in Lagos realized, this is not the usual, you know, and that for me is democracy. The excitement is that democracy is playing out. What are your thoughts in your own area? How are young people, do they come out en masse?
It was business as usual in my area. You talk about how voting goes in my own area. I voted, say, 4 to 5 times now in that same polling unit. And it's the same pattern. So they came out as usual, and you'd see people just crowding areas. And the results that came out were predictable from my end of it. They were predictable. We had no surprises. The only thing was, you know, whether the entire Lagos system was ready for this. So I got a shock when I found out that Alimosho, you know, Labour Party won Alimosho. It's never happened. Alimosho has always, you know, is the largest local government when it comes to numbers. And it's always been an APC-dominated local government. So this, for me, is a wake-up call. Since you asked Miriam, I wanted to wait, because that's where I'm going. The people of Lagos cannot continue to be they can't have two class. You can't have that wide gap between the leadership and the people of Lagos.
On the ground.
That disconnect. Because I felt the pulse of people around me, and they were like, usually in my own end of Lagos, in a mode of, you would say it's an Igbo-dominated area, and so you say you expect the Igbos to have an agenda. They will come out and they will vote that agenda. But when you ask the Yoruba people, say they don't used to talk to us now. And they enter finish now. They don't used to see us. They don't used to come outside now. Your people add that emotions flying, and so that disconnect cannot continue.
Well, we'll come to that a bit later, because I want to also take it step by step, because there's so many parts of it. There's another angle I'd like us to touch on: the thuggery and intimidation. You know, I've seen that in the past, because the educated elites and the youths have never really been involved in politics. So when the politicians send out their thugs and they're intimidating and snatching ballot boxes here and there, we don't really care. They bicker for a few days and they move on. But now we're involved and we're saying, is this how people are doing it? No, it's not going to happen. This election, you cannot continue your thuggery system where you send out this because you fail to do the work of politicking, which is to appeal to people's consciousness to vote for you. That's the hard work. But the easiest one is to call a thug and scatter everywhere. But now, from this, we have learned you can't do that anymore. And because in the past we never paid attention, what are your thoughts on the fact that people in some communities, maybe like not just Lagos, across the country, some politicians, thugs came out and did and caused violence here and there. So what are your thoughts on the fact that politicians must get this as a wake-up call? The fact that some of you used to use your neighborhood political thugs to scatter ballots, that system cannot work anymore.
So this for me, this credit for that must be given to the present government, President Muhammadu Buhari's government. So in one of the polling units where it was reported that there was thuggery, somebody called the military and they came to establish sanity. It didn't used to be business as usual where the police are working in tandem with the thugs. So they would turn their backs. It wasn't like that. The military in Kogi State shot one of the ballot box snatchers. So we have reports like that, and you must give that to the president, who was not a president. We have one president in the past who, when he was president, his party didn't lose any state. And any way they won was allowed. In President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, whether you like or credit him or not, you cannot deny that every election he left it to the people. Every state under election per state that ran under him, he did not get involved. And you saw the independence of the courts in the electoral tribunals, and at the result of at the end of the day, he doesn't want to know how it is done. And when he promised security, he gave security. The military were out, and anybody, no matter the side you're from, found one thing. So they were the ones who established, who instituted sanity. Yes, in the past, thugs were outdo the people. So you don't have arms, but the thug is ready to die. They will come and do anyhow, you know.
So, but then let me come to you ladies. I mean, do you think because the elites and the youth were involved in this election, that's why they're a bit shocked at the amount of intimidation that people went through? Because in the past, we didn't really care. But now we are concerned that this happened in some places and some people are disenfranchised. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think that Nigerians are unaware of thuggery that's happened during elections. You just, maybe a lot of people have not been part of it. So you see it on TV, you hear your neighbors who have gone out to vote to come back and tell you. You would even see physical evidence of that happening. But in my own view, this time it wasn't as widespread as it used to be. And for a couple of people who let me know that this happened in their area, they said to me that the military came in and restored sanity. So it looks like, you know, this credit, as Nima said, is really to the administration of, you know, our current president, which is he was very adamant in setting proper procedures on ground to make sure that people's votes counted. There was a free, fair, and violence-free election. So it was not totally violent-free, but it also looked like it did not escalate into something worse, you know. And people who these things happen to, in the areas that happen to, they still have a voice. They still even have channels for redress, you know.
So what are your thoughts on the thuggery and intimidation?
I think the only difference now is social media. So people were in their polling units, they were able to take videos of the violence happening. And so before you know it, just get into social media and you're seeing it's happening in this polling unit. You're even seeing faces. The videos were showing faces of people who were threatening people, you know. It was just widespread, you know, and people would be calling loved ones, where are you? Hope your area is safe, and all of that. I witnessed a bit of that violence in my polling unit. The thugs came, all of us scampered.
You serious?
And then they were still, and then we gathered ourselves as young people and said, these people are few. We can hold them down. Are they with weapons? We're looking around. Are they with weapons? Let's see how we can hold them. And I was on my trainers ready to hold anybody down. Worst case, they injure me. But it will be unfair not to mention people who were victims of this violence that happened. So we know that in some areas they had to call in the army to come and restore peace. They did in my polling unit before we realized that the army came and then the thugs were taken away, you know. But there was a woman all over social media who had to hold on to her ballot box, and she had this injury. You know, this is somebody who came out and she still insisted on voting with the blood. So we must look into all of these things, and I feel that the government can do more, because most of those video evidences are out there. So I should be hearing like there's more arrest. Anybody who has, you know, sent in talks should be questioned right now. We cannot just gloss over and feel like it didn't happen. It happened, and the government must sit on it.
I must also give credit. Just this morning, Adodogowa, the House of Reps majority leader, was arrested and remanded in court, and is facing trial for electoral violence and possible complicity in the murder of 3 people. So we had arrests.
So what it shows me, ma'am, that politicians in the past have always done this and gotten away with it. They tried that they could do it again, but this time around we have video evidences, we have pictures, we can actually, there's going to be a follow-up and prosecution to
past
this.
elections. We had video evidences.
Yes. So I was going to say that social media actually is not
there's a leadership direction on this. And we must give that credit. Arrests were made. People were charged. You had INEC officers arrested, videos picking them, and you know INEC, you know, arraigning them. We have that because the leadership is not going to continue business as usual. He said he's going to give free and fair election, and to his best abilities, he's doing that. But you know, when we are enraged and we're emotional as Nigerians, we like to take credit away. One of the person I engaged at the polling units, I said, can we just be separate from our emotions and put things factual? This president has ensured that we have this, we are enjoying redress. The only problem I had in my area is that, okay, I've always had to vote in Ojo because there was no polling unit within my estate at the time. Unknown to me, 3 were added during this election, say whatever.
Make it easy for you.
To make it, and people we didn't know. Most people didn't know. Only a few people know, and only those few people just, you know, arrange it. There was no publicity enough. It took me, because I wasn't feeling, I had to drive. I didn't trek this time, and I drove, and I found one. I found another one. I was like, So I know the numbers now where I can change.
When I come back, we continue with our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help welcome to the show, La General, the one and only Pere Egbe. Which of the following is false about teeth? We are born with 20 primary teeth. Teeth are the hardest substance in the body. Teeth are the strongest bones in the body.
Teeth is not a bone, actually.
Teeth can self-repair.
The strongest bone in the body, no. Teeth is not a bone.
Final answer?
Teeth is not a bone. You know what came to my head now? That sound. Crickets.
So, editor, you can put that cricket sound there. You can still put it down too.
When was the first Gulda ultimate search? Editor?
Don't put any cricket sound. I'm talking. Okay, Pere. How many times has Ghana qualified for the World Cup?
5 times. Hey, you can't do that now.
That's what it is.
Wait. Calm down. Why are you like this?
This is your team.
Small play now.
They will not
Somebody cannot play with you again.
They will not be impressed though. The team that you're supporting. And
Ghana will be alright.
Yeah, that's last.
Charlie? Cheers, Charlie.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what...
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the question.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So.
Okay. So now one chance for enter. My first question. Do you remember the names of the winners of that edition of StarQuest?
Of course I do.
Why do you?
And I hate myself for this because I have this question for you. Final question: Where outside Nigeria and what year? I think you're the only one that can be wicked.
I am thinking because I know back in the day.
Don't think. Answer my question quick. You are thinking.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing lessons learned from the elections. You can call us on 081-270-53687-091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. We'd like to hear from our viewers. After all, it's your view. Let's hear your thoughts. And on this, there's been a word that has been used since Saturday, flawed elections. We've seen it. Even I read The Economist this morning. Congratulations to the president-elect on the floor. You know, that's the word that we've been brandishing around. But what if somebody was saying, a friend of mine, Mr. Gabriel Ayre, was saying that what is not flawed in Nigeria? Let us even talk to ourselves. NNPC getting distributions of fuel is flawed. Monetary policy came. Ordinary to implement and to ensure Nigerians have cash. Everybody celebrated monetary policy, but they were still flawed. Ordinary trying to even plan an event in this country is usually flawed. That we are still a developing nation. There won't be perfect elections for a long time. Things would happen. But in this situation, people are now saying this is totally, completely flawed and should be cancelled. Do you agree? Do you think the whole thing should have been cancelled as some of the parties are insisting and demanding for?
I completely disagree that it should have been cancelled. These elections cost us over 300 billion. What are we saying? We printed about 93,000 ballot papers, only 93 million ballot papers, only about 25 million voters. So what is going to happen to the cost of Yaga? Executive Director of Yaga Africa was talking yesterday, and he was talking about the numbers and the wastage. I've wasted about 200 million. Now, in a process like this, there are legitimate structures. There's rule of law. There's a way it was created. So that's why we have an electoral act to guide us on how elections go. And so some aggrieved parties now, in between collation, call on the INEC chairperson to stop collating because they are aggrieved. Whereas the process has put in measures where such grievances will be addressed. He has a statutory duty he must complete. And you say, no, don't follow law. Yeah. You know, I've never on this table supported help yourself. You must go through the process. Yeah. If you have a grievance, sue the person. If you have anything, go to court.
But this Nigerian mentality, let us just scatter ground. Former president
who has been a military and a civilian president 2 times. Whose own era had the most flawed kind of elections, read a letter asking an INEC officer to go outside the Electoral Act and stop a process. I don't understand. So we cannot say because it was flawed, it should have been cancelled. Every election, we continue to improve. Yeah. We started with card readers. We've gone to beavers. We are trying to improve. Are we giving ourselves the years of growth, or we want to just miraculously become America, where even they have a system that Trump is contesting now, saying they will have the flawed elections? Yeah. So there's no perfect system anywhere. Follow the rule of law.
So thank you for that, because we're saying there's no perfect system. It was flawed. And you know, when Nigerians say they want democracy, I always tell myself, are you sure you want democracy? Because democracy is painstakingly achieved. You don't get it by the flip of a switch. Oh, this thing, there was war, let's cancel the oath, let us scatter it. Because that's what we're hearing all these other parties were saying. But in your view, let me come to you, Mariam and BC, should they have cancelled it, as been asked?
I don't think it should be cancelled, but I also need that we all accept that it came with some flaws.
Yes.
And there were some discrepancies, you know, in different places. People have said that, people are even arguing whether it was transfer or transmission of their votes. Oh, I thought it was meant to be immediately transmitted, you know, but people say no, it's meant to be transferred. You take, Nima was explaining to us yesterday, say you take a screenshot of it, and as it's you send it. But a lot of, people thought it would just be transmitted as you're putting it in at your polling unit, it will be electronically transmitted. So that is also a question that, it has to be explained to us legally. There are also people who are alleging that what they saw at the final collation does not tally with what they were. After all, this is my polling unit. How come it does not tally? Some people are alleging that we saw figures from my polling unit for another state altogether. But I do not think that violence is the way to go. I don't think scattering is the way to go. There is a process, a legal process, and that is now where our judiciary needs to sit up. We cannot have a weak judiciary. We cannot have a judiciary that cannot stand for justice for the people. And I believe that we will see a lot of these cases during this period. And I'm sure that those who, I'm believing and trusting that our judiciary will give justice to those who deserve it.
Listen, do you think there's an issue of mistrust or distrust of the system? So people say, if this thing gets to court, so Google, they are the ones in the government, so they would definitely influence the judgment. So we don't want it to get to court at all. Do you think that could have been the reason why people are demanding, let us scatter it here and not even go forward?
There's always been a mistrust of government from time immemorial, and that's why they say as leaders, you must be careful so that your good is not evil spoken of. You must do your best within what is in your power to ensure that at least when it's presented to all sides, it will seem very transparent and everybody will say, okay, this person tried. And I know it's not a walk in the park. Nigeria is still a baby, let me use the word. We are still going through different processes. But you need to understand that we are multifaceted in this country. We have so many ethnic groups, so many different ideologies. You must ensure as a leader that you are able to, sort of, would I use the word satisfy now? Appeal to different groups for them to see that I am standing on this, so I'm screaming this, so this is the way to go. And if it goes wrong, I'm coming for this. So because we had about 4 years to prepare for these very elections, and the beavers were so excited about the beavers. Oh, finally a form of technology, blah 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 blah. We have young people who are in different universities who are tech gurus, those who have graduated building their own companies. Why didn't you find a way to get them involved in this? No matter how much of a professor you are, at some point you would have missed out some things. Technology keeps updating, and that's why you need young minds to keep giving you the current trend that would help you. So I think INEC should have done more in terms of preparation, because it now seems like after all the money we have spent, you didn't really prepare for the election. And you will not blame Nigerians for mistrusting it.
So you're very correct. So it's as if INEC overpromised and underdelivered. So you are making us happy that now we have electronic display of the results. We're pretty excited. IREV was supposed to be that, but now you're not taking it. It was so difficult for IREV for me to upload to IREV, and that now got people really anticipating and wondering, are these people going to alter? But you see, I'm happy about the data, because I have a boss that used to say, data is life. When the numbers come out, we can begin to read. And those are saying, oh, I would have won, I would have lost. Let the numbers come. The numbers don't lie. It will tell you, okay, yes, these XYZ were disenfranchised. Let us dash these votes to this party. Will they become president? Will these people that said that they won, if this hadn't happened, will they become winners? These are the numbers, these are data, information that data gives you. And I'm hoping that we can have those smart guys from the university. Let us coach the numbers. Let them, now that we have some numbers out there, let's analyze them. Let's analyze them and see what could have happened or couldn't have happened. But there's another thing I'd like us to talk about. The other parties are asking for INEC not to use the NURTW, especially because they've always been helpful in helping with the logistics and getting material from the collation centers to the various polling units. Now they're asking us to use private companies because they're having issues with trust. I saw some rickety buses driving into Magodo, and I think, are these the buses? Very, very rickety looking buses. And I thought, why didn't they even use proper the lag buses or something that was decent? I'm not sure what happened, but that would have been said that it was compromised. So what can we do as regards logistics? What can INEC do? What are your thoughts? Should INEC engage private companies, especially for logistics, or Should they continue to use the NURTW that they've used always in Lagos?
I don't think they used NURTW at this.
They didn't use NURTW. I think because there was an issue in court.
So the alternative question that you were asking has been explored already.
Yes.
So they've already explored alternatives and they've seen the cost effect of it. Whatever works for INEC, INEC should use.
And maybe my own idea is maybe it's a bit far in the future, because I had someone who was saying that because of the violence that happened in his area, his wife is saying she may never, she may not come out to vote for the next time. And no, we're talking, and I said that I hope that we are also exploring the fact, we saw in America they had votes by mail. I hope that someday we get to do that. We are able to sit in our homes and send our votes. Be easier. So that there's no, at least there'll be no physical committee.
Exactly. So. We have comments on social media. Let's start looking for comments. And I also like us to talk about the third force.
So they are looking at us being able, there will be no PVCs for the next elections, because I've been following reports of post-election assessment. And they said, come 2027, your ID card and Beaver's capture will just show your records, and
that's it.
You don't have to be using PVC anymore. Progressing.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that no electoral process anywhere is clear cut.
Yeah.
You progress, you perfect with time.
So I want to talk about the third force, and I've been one of those proponents, especially even during the 2019 elections. I've said, listen, we need options. Nigerians need options, and I think I love the fact that there were options in these elections, and I like the fact that the ruling parties realize that you must do more to appeal to people's consciences. You also must do more to show what you're doing so that people can actually continue to vote for you, because it's not a walk in the park like it used to be anymore. So what are your thoughts on this third force? The Labour Party have come. In fact, someone was saying that the next 4 years election is like going to be between APC and Labour, because they have come, and the hero of this has been Peter Obi. He has been the man that branched out of PDP and been able to pull a huge number of young people and other, not just young people, other educated elites to vote for him. So he also can be described as one of the heroes of our democracy, because he's somebody that's been able to galvanize and awaken a new wave of voters. What are your thoughts on Peter Obi? Let's discuss him for a minute.
Okay, I think this just shows that if you are in the seat of power, you will not do as you like anymore. You would take the pains of the people very personal.
Yeah.
Because your word is no longer law. People are there paying attention. People are there to vote you out any moment. People are there to hold you accountable to what you have promised. And so it shows me like a new Nigeria is building, where people are now saying, we want somebody who is able to give us what we want, who is able to lift us up as a country, who is able to put our name in the global map for positivity. And if you cannot deliver, we will get you out. This is also showing us that power now does not belong to the political heads. Yes. Power belongs to the people, and the people need to rise up and take their power. It's us. It's the young. They always been singing this song. The future generation. The youth are the future generation. This is the future. We have now come to the future. Leaders of, thank you, my sister. We have now come to that same tomorrow, and so this will help people who have gotten to that position to know that, okay, I will not just do anyhow and get away with it. People are watching. People are observing. And they will call me out.
It's another thing. I'll come to you, Mariam, now, because people have put that mentality in young people that, what is a revolution you need? Sometimes it's not all about revolution, because a new Nigeria is a process. It's about negotiation. It's about collaboration. It's about understanding. It's about participation. So some people just think, let's scatter everything, let them show them. Sometimes it's not about that. It's about having this person come out to confidently say, you know what, I am leaving this party and I'm starting a new movement. And he probably, initially people criticized this guy, whatever he's talking about. But now he caused support. So in itself, that is part of the growth of our democracy, don't you think, Mariam?
Yeah, definitely. It's really about a sometimes very slow growth process. And for me, the candidacy of Peter Obi and in the LP has a lot to do still with the youths, because the youths just finally realized, they have to step in. In the very beginning, you're right, there were people who thought, he's left PDP. that's, any other party, there's no chance that you would make it, you make it anywhere. In fact, there are some politicians and people who have always looked at elections over the years who were so certain that, this means nothing. But everyone has been surprised, but except the youth. I don't think the youth were surprised. They knew exactly. And that's the thing. And I feel that for Mr. Obitu, this would be, the support he got will be humbling. Because yes, I'm one man and this is my stance. But it was really the youth that pushed him, and made him an important part of these elections. They spoke about, he didn't really, a lot of people will say he didn't have a structure, And a lot of us believe that structure had to do with party offices in different states. But we now realize the structure is the people. Simple. All you have to do is have people everywhere, and they will speak for you, they will vote for you, they will campaign for you, and you may not have physical structures everywhere, but they are there. And they're not in the mind. Yes, ideology are the people. And so for politicians going forward in their campaigns going forward, it's not enough to go and meet just in one town hall and call your usual cronies. You will do door to door. You will face the people, you will talk to them, you will meet in their different smaller communities. The conversation you say that some people say they don't talk to us, you will now know how important that person on the street is, and you speak to that person.
Because I'm going to talk about Lagos State election, because so much money and everybody's doing this, they want to do the campaigning, they're using the regular format. The regular system they've been using to go dancing and doing rallies and screaming, all the rallies, all the dancing, all the merchandising. You saw the result in Lagos. So sometimes it's not about all those paraphernalia of the campaigns. It's about you, the candidate, in the street, knocking on the doors. That's the real campaign of the people. And that's what I just am demanding now going forward.
I have seen door to door. I experienced door to door in 2007. When was Fashola first time of governorship? And then in my area in Mobadore in Igondo, we had people knock on our door, sit with us, and introduce the candidate. Nobody prior to that knew who he was. And I remember my dad saying, all of you just go and vote for this person.
Yes.
And I was saying, I don't know him. So I've experienced door to door, but we don't see it anymore. What we see is 1 million market
advantage, yes.
That election, I remember the reason I went out to even cast the vote was because somebody came in and explained why. And the possibility of a progressive happening, a progressive growth happening in Lagos. Yes. They had come at that time to do some mappings in Obado, saying they wanted to do a housing estate in Lagos and all of that pie and all of that mapping happened. And somebody came in. The person was also running for Ward C. I think that was what it was running for under the Godo LCDA then. And he came and he talked to us about it. But what did we see now? We don't see anything. We see hate on social media. We see people, all of that happening, and then some people just matching PVCs. I'm telling you, where are the match? Thank you. People match tire.
Thank you.
So we didn't see that happen, and it's disheartening. But I hope that Nigerians know better now.
Yes, and I hope that the political class too are able to go back and have proper meetings.
People
and
want
discuss
information, and what I don't like is the inobjectivity. So I would listen to you, but tell me something that I can hold on to. Don't give me sentiments. Don't tell me where when it's your turn or when it's not your turn. When I don't want to hear that. Tell me facts about the person that I can hold on to. Everything I held on to. I remember when Fashola became governor, when I was on the show, I would attack him and say, where is it? It was supposed to be this and this and this and this arrangement, and it didn't happen. And he would answer, but you don't see leaders wanting to answer anymore. People are running and shying away.
Exactly. So I think this also feedback. That you must speak to Nigerians. That way you don't do debates and you cannot talk to them. And because we have, people know they are confident in the structure that's on ground. They are forgetting that
no longer to come and queue up at your gate as an elected officer.
That time has passed.
You must have
that time, that train, politicians, if you are listening to us this morning, that train has gone. That ship has sailed. You must do the work. As the president-elect was saying, that I'm not going to be a leader, I'm going to be a servant. You must start serving now, going forward. You must really serve.
So I'm going to come back to what we want to see. Okay. But let me take some tweets.
Please.
Okay. So Festus Akimbo Iwa says, there must be a huge investment in broadband penetration if we want technology to work welfare elections. This incoming government should partner with the private sector to develop our broadband infrastructure. Until then, Beavers IREV will not work as expected. All hail the Beavers. If you look at how sitting governors who want to go to Senate lost, how PMB lost Katsina, how Tinubu himself lost Lagos, and all of that, any objective person will realize that this is the most credible election in our history. We must celebrate our progress.
I like that. Let's talk about how Labour Party can leverage on this new power. I mean, this for me is a huge win for the Labour Party, and you must consolidate on these numbers. You cannot go to sleep because many of them are downcast. Oh no, we lost. Oh, but this is a fortune. The numbers you're looking at is a fortune. How do they build on that leverage, especially in the coming election? What can they do? Because you don't want to make them. We don't want Labour Party followers to feel that they've lost and it's over. The game is not over.
Okay, when I coach people, I always teach them that failure is feedback. I don't believe in the concept of failure personally, and that has helped me to launch into things. And when the failure comes, I take it as a feedback, a redirection to the right moves I'm supposed to be making, and I pick the lessons from everything that happens to me. And I want Labour Party to pick a lesson from this. There were aspects of Nigeria that they did not cover. This is the time to build that bridge. It's very important. You cannot get to a certain height in the country without going grassroots into some certain areas, especially like the North. They need a proper coverage in the North. This is also feedback that they need to take back. And I don't want them to feel downcast, I'm not voting again, and this and that. This is just the beginning of that democracy that we are working towards. If we tick all the boxes, we check all, cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and see what next we're going to get and where we're going to get, and we keep hoping. Since I was young, I particularly studied political science, but I just hated politics for whatever reason. I just went through that course in the university just to pass and go and do my acting. That was where my mind was. But this election has opened my eyes that we can no longer sit on the sidelines. We need to start making that move. And every young person who has come out under Labour Party, please do not go back and say, I'm not voting again. You will be doing yourself a great injustice. This is the time to pick up from the lessons you have learned and start working towards it, please.
What do you think? How does Labour leverage on this?
Okay, so for me, I'm looking at this and thinking that this might very well be the beginning of ideological politics in Nigeria.
Possibly.
Yes, because the people that LP is attracting, young people who want something different from what has always been there, people who feel that, that we need to do things differently. Yes, and then we're talking about people who are more exposed, who are educated. You can put elites because I think it's actually more widespread than that. So, there's something that politicians do where they are cross-carpeting up and down, and I feel that LP needs to be careful the sort of alliances it makes in the future. They cannot make the mistake of just collaborating with just any political party, because one of the things that the youth have said about LP is just how different they perceive them to be from the regular. So it has to be another party that they also believe pushes that pushes that ideology, and because of that, what we would have is parties and followerships that have to do with the different ideologies that people can relate with.
All right, let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
It's not just where, but who wouldn't you want to work with?
Yes, that's on that angle.
So Laifa had a very, very interesting...
You wouldn't want to work with who?
There's no judgment.
No, and I respect,
they'll judge you definitely,
respect
but we won't
this
judge
certain type of people. But what I dislike so much is when they tend to come to work and then they pour all their
resentment
on you. Is it me that offended you? I'm not the one. I have no business. Man, just come and work with you, pay me at the end of the month, and let me go back to my house in peace and sleep. But when it comes to like divorced people, I cannot work with a divorcee. I can't see myself doing that. If I find out, if you can hide it or not, but if I find out,
when they are nice divorcees,
I would just.
What if they are nice?
Okay, now it depends. If you are nice, cool. But if you are the type that you don't know how to keep your anger to yourself, you always pour it on somebody. Well, I'll not drop my resignation letter, no matter the amount you are paying me.
So it's more passive-aggressive people.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, definitely.
And I cannot work with stingy people.
See this one.
Because you cannot be passing me in the morning, afternoon. I can say, oh, hi, yeah, I'm okay. Oh, yeah, take 100 naira, take 10K, take 15K. You don't have to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy. See, the way you treat others is the way they will treat you outside. Yeah. And if you cannot treat your workers well, they are not a good boss. If you cannot be dashing me small thing or giving me donuts when I'm working, you are not a good person.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century, speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Ask questions if I want to ask questions, and if it's something that I saw coming, I may not even ask questions. I may just, I may even tell you I saw this.
What if it's in person? But then, would it make a difference where? So like, this person might just say, you people can just be on 3rd Milan Bridge on a bike, and the person say, babe, I cannot do it again, and you lose range. So, what would change? What would change the scenario? Like, does it matter where? Do you want to have like a fancy dinner, like the film you were meant to be
like finding your
and then, or do you want to be on the street?
Don't carry me go fancy dinner.
Or you might just una dey run for treadmill.
Or you not a job.
Don't tell you lose for your web.
Now I don't turn attempted murder.
So which would it be? Because I'm like, in person, you have the closure that you want and the few injuries.
Guys, that's one place. It could be inside the car. You can sit inside the car.
Why car? Why not bike?
Who will be driving?
Why bike?
Who will be driving at this
the car will
point?
be stationary.
Pray I'm not the one driving.
The car
Just
will be
pray.
stationary.
Because I go master. You can't be telling me like me. I'm going to drive near water. You must consider.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the one who can make time stand still forever, Mr. Kelechi Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, have you?
Yeah. It was great.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
We try like that.
Thank you.
Now my question, which I feel is a cheap question.
Oh, go ahead.
What does ISO stand for?
That is it. I think I'll drink.
No, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
Kelechi Amadi. No. Shay, you didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink. Huh? No problem.
Okay.
I've always known this as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. It's out there.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
I just said, let me give you this one as a token of my appreciation.
Thanks for staying with us. So we talked a lot about the elections, what happened, but now we're going to be talking about the president-elect and what Nigerians are expecting, that what they hope he does. He's mentioned about the youth and what he hopes to bring young people together and to listen to them loud and clear. What are expectations of the new president-elect, and what would you like him to do going forward?
One of the highlights for me was the youth plan, the No More ASU strike plan.
Yeah.
So one of the issues that bedeviled this administration was the continuous rolling over of ASU issues. And I wanted the president who is coming into office with a clear-cut plan, someone who says, this is how it will go. So he's not using it as a campaign plan. This is after he has won elections. He's saying, one of this particular issue, I will not allow it again. So my assistant was with me and she was like, well, because I'm tired of this. This is what made me even end up an assistant, and the issues of continuous. And then she talked about the strikes, and then she talked about the issue of handouts. She said that handouts, for him to have talked about end of a handouts was something that it means that he knows exactly what Nigerian students suffer in school. So I don't support that handout method. We had a lecturer who came in from Harvard who took us public law, I think constitutional law. And the first thing he did was, why don't I have your emails? Why do you guys not have my emails? Back then, the last one, all the class just, because we had to go and be printing something to photocopy something. So we were used to that method. And if somebody is coming into office today and gives us that ray of light, that's for me is encouraging. That I welcome any day, anytime. But this might also mean certain tightening of belts. This could also mean that we'll start to do student loans and all of that. But let Nigerians start to open their minds, because we open our minds when we cross border to do student loan and expensive fees. We call it foreign education. But if it comes here, it's local education. It should be done anyhow.
Exactly.
So if it is one of the methods to solving it, let's know how to do it. I was a student when Asiwaju was governor, and no Lagosian in last Sudan paid school fees. They brought the indigenship interviews. They brought the free education. And I remember hating my own state because I
not doing it for you.
Yes, all the way to law school. By the time I was in law school, Fashola was a first-time governor. They took care of Lagosians. We saw the checks. Even Kogi took care of their people, but they don't.
No, the North has always done that.
They do.
They pay bursary.
They didn't pay bursary. When we had the issue of Boko Haram attacks, they used aerial contractors to bring their people back to Lagos. You just have to show an ID card, you're from, or you resident here, and they help people. But they happen from our side. I don't know why. But this sort of lifts my spirit that this is someone who has always known how students feel and knows what to do. For him to have created free education in the university in last Sudan, I know that he knows exactly what the plan is.
What are the thoughts? So for me, I just looked at it yesterday. I said, after all said and done, here we are today. We have a new president-elect. Yes. And then, I looked at the person of the president-elect. What gives me confidence, and for me, one of the things that's very important for Nigeria right now is someone who will be able to unify us. Yeah. There's been lots of, back and forth across different ethnicities. Some people have said, religious, but I feel that he represents someone who is quite, I don't know if the word is mainstream. He has that personality to be able to unify Nigerians. And also his speech also came across to me as someone who understands that it's not about gloating. It is not about making sure I'm going to show you, because we have had someone who mentioned when he became president, I know that only 5% of you voted for me, and many people voted from this, and I have seen it, but this person is saying, even for those who did not vote me, I recognize that, but I'm willing to work with you, all of us. And for me, that is very important. We are looking forward to seeing a very diverse, cabinet when he sets it up. And this is someone that I've lived in Lagos State now nearly, I don't know if it's up to 15 years, but almost that. And every governor and every, this is a northerner now coming in, telling you how it's done everywhere else. And I'm seeing Lagos, and I'm seeing continuity, I'm seeing development. When my mom comes to visit, she says, now for this Lagos. Anytime I come, something new has come up. Something is different. Like Dubai. If you go to my state, I'm sorry, if you left in 1983, you're likely to find the same. You will not be, you will not get lost. So I feel that I'm going to see that on a wider scale. I feel that also he will serve as a mentor and a form of encouragement for others to do better. Everybody wants to come to Lagos, set up business in Lagos, raise up family in Lagos. I hope that this would mean that, in various states, Plateau State, Taraba State, I want to see an improvement in those states. Those states can feed the whole of Nigeria. Yes. The insecurity that happens in those places is so sad, and I hope that, this is someone that can stir up confidence for Nigerians to, be unified, united, and better economy for us.
One of the first one, what you hope that the new president-elect does?
Please, you should give us light. I want 24 hours power supply, and I want Nigerians to be open to paying for the power supply that we get. I know that it will get worse before it gets better. This subsidy everybody's talking about, when they remove it, fuel will likely get up to 800, but we need to be patient, because when the market forces stabilize, then it will come down. But we would have a bit of that, tightening our belt, because it will not just overnight. We are always expecting a miracle in this part of the world. Let the person just enter, so the next minute everything is good. We will go through that process. Are we ready for that process? So I want the fact, I don't want university students to be at home anymore. We're tired of the ASU strike. If you get admission to study a 4-year course, please do your 4 years and live there. I also want to see a lot of private public partnership with industries, factories, so that young people can deploy their hands to work. I know that Lagos State naturally has a lot of trainings for people, vocations and all that. I want to see it on a global scale, and not just vocations. When you're done with the vocation, there should be factories that are willing to take you. So the government now needs to start having conversation with factories, with manufacturers, with different companies, so that there's a ready market to assimilate young people who finish up these vocations. I want power given to our vocations. Right. We don't have, if you need an electrician, you have to get somebody from Ghana. You need a plumber, you have to get somebody from Cotonou. You need, we don't have people who pay attention to that, and because these jobs have been sort of minimized to look like it's for poor people. Let's put glory into our handwork right now. I want the team to start working on things like that. Let Nigerians be proud of the work that they do. That's what I want.
I have confidence that this is a man also who understands how to put people in the right spaces.
That's okay.
You have heard this many times, people who have worked in Lagos especially, who will say, this is a mentor I've had for many years. He saw me, he headhunted me because of these certain skills. And then we see that thing actually reflect in the person's work. I mean, it's someone who can headhunt a fashola that has become like a beacon of, everything can be done well in governance. And so that gives me confidence that this is someone who will do right by our people, by putting those who can where they can do well for our people.
What I want to see from the new president-elect is a strengthening of the judiciary, and also the ensuring that the issue of course about state policing, restructuring somewhat. And the reason is because when law enforcement is actually enforced, corruption reduces automatically. The reason why corruption seems to be rife in some areas is because we don't deploy technology to be able to get official corrupt people. We also don't have enough. The judiciary spends a long time in prosecuting and ensuring justice is served. So a lot of people just take advantage of the system. So I would really like for the incoming president to do a lot to strengthen our judiciary, to ensure that justice is not delayed, therefore not being perceived as denied. And therefore people must have trust. And that when we see that, they begin to trust the system. And then every other thing you do will be easier. You cannot build on that. Buhari has done a lot of physical structure, of infrastructure. Now it's time for the new president-elect to build on that and do a lot more soft skills, more soft embracing the social, getting more people believing.
Human capital.
Yes, human capital is part of it, but also getting people to believe in the system, believe in the party.
Nigerians don't believe in this country.
They don't believe in Nigeria anymore.
We need the president to
stir up that
to change mindsets. I don't know how Nigerians, everywhere they go, once a Nigerian enter bus, go Ghana, come back, he will start cussing. He start saying, what did Nigeria do for me? Which Nigeria? And all of that. So I was in that space a week or two before, during elections. I was still trying to, my children, this 10 and 6, both of them, know better about elections because the conversation were forcefully had at home. We kept talking about the Nigeria, the lands, the people, the culture, the language, why you have to love this place. And we need a president that will wake up the National Orientation Agency again, and they will start to work. I don't want a National Orientation Agency that is under the Ministry of Information and they are already the ones answering for the president. Their job is clear-cut. Leave the special advisor on media and all of that for that business. Let Mohammed work, not Intashio Gariba's work under this administration.
Don't mix it.
They not mix. So Nigerians need to love the Nigerian dream. We need to own the land. We need to love the people. And that's one of the things I pulled from his campaign when he was having his town hall, different from the regular town halls. He met the artisans, he met farmers, he went down. So he has a plan in agriculture. And myself, let there be food, let us not suffer, let fish not spoil. Let there be food. Let Nigerians start to be able to eat Nigeria. Let's love this place.
And also talking about that, one of the things we also talk about is rural and grassroots development. If we're going to see real major change change has to happen there. So I don't know, we always talk about it that we always expect the presidency to do everything, but I'm hoping that he will instill some sort of, motivate some sort of change in attitude at the grassroots level. Let Nigerians at the grassroots, the true Nigerians, feel the government. Government should not be far from people. And will not be far from people, as you said, agriculturally, security. We don't want to have situations that, that we have gone through in the past many years now. We want a change. We want government to be there. Government that understands the local problems and understands the local issues and how to, solve them using our local and our local ways and our local resources. I would like to see that, I agree with you, to a working and responsible judiciary. That's so very important.
All right, so another thing that came to mind while you were talking is the health system, the medical tourism. I would like for the president-elect to begin to see how we can reduce this medical tourism. Many people are relocating because they feel that they're not fully encouraged financially in Nigeria as medical doctors or health operatives. So we need to ensure and to reduce the number of those who are migrating, who are leaving this country on medical purposes. That's one area I really like. And the health facilities, the hospitals across the country must be developed. Yes, a few states have been able to participate in improve the primary health centers, but we need more. Very few states. We know Lagos has quite a number, but a lot of states have not been able to expand on that. So another critical part for the president-elect is to ensure he's able to get the governors to work. Many of the governors have been, they've had this lackadaisical attitude. They just go pick up the monthly allocation and they're fine. Yeah. He must be able to help them see what he did in Lagos, where you have to do the work. You have to see what you can do to increase revenue. That's to collect people.
That's governors. Yeah, exactly. The federal system like that, and
it's about the bridge, but sometimes the kind of leadership Buhari was. He's the kind of guy, he trusts you to do your work. He's not going to be imposing. Yeah. So, but the kind of person Ashwaju seems to be the president-elect, he's the kind of person that can actually be that bridge between helping you, coaching you, to help you and how to develop your state.
Maybe he can't be the example.
Yes.
But he
can do. So let us
not party lines before you start to hear is domineering the country.
Yes.
Thank you. Some states, when it was the Fashola administration, started to set him as the standards that they were following. So you saw Rufai coming, I'll do the Fashola standard, and in the state, he fell out with his people. So state governors must look at the nature, practices and ways of their people and govern them right. But when it comes to revenue generation, this is a general rule. Every governor should start to find means to raise money and prioritize the problems of their people. It's not that, the usual FAC allocations will come in. He cannot control what you do with it. But when you go back, the president must do what Buhari did at the end of his tenure, call out governors for what they received and how they...
And Nima, what you have just said is quite interesting, because Ashiwaju is a real-life example of a governor who had to do that. Yes. I mean, during his tenure, he had to raise revenue for Lagos. It seemed like the federal and the states at that time were not, we had loggerheads, and he had to take that independent move to develop his state. And so I guess it's easier to be able to express that to governors that are coming. If you come with excuses, I've done it, it can be done, and if you want me, I can show you how it can be done.
Yeah. Is it possible that we say that for you to put the resources together, for instance, we've been talking about medical tourism, you need to show examples, you need to use the medical facilities. So if the different hospitals know that their leaders are going to be using these facilities, the MDs that run the hospitals, medical directors will equip the hospitals, they will put everything in place, because they are expecting that a governor can work in one day, the president can work in one day for these services. And this will also keep the money within, because we spend a lot of money outside going for treatment. So if we I think it was the man that was saying yesterday, grow Nigeria, eat Nigeria. It must start from leadership. We should see that example. Oh, he uses this hospital. Okay, why do I want to travel to go and get this medical care? And also for education, some of these things is because most of the problems we have is because the leaders are not in tune with the problems of the people because they do not experience it. So we want a leader now that would experience, you say, I have gone to this place, I know I've passed this road, I know the potholes you are talking about is going to be fixed. That will bring more trust in the system.
Finally, ladies, gender equality, gender parity, and this is much also, as we know, is the month for women.
Yes.
We want to see more women in places. We want to see more strong women. We have capable women, so it's not that we're calling for just because we're women. We want to see capable women doing work, representing the government and representing their people at different leaders. So
I'm looking forward. One of the things I'm looking forward in this new administration is the cabinet members and the kinds of people that he's able to bring together. You know, we saw in Lagos how he was able to bring different people from different tribes, different experiences to come together to be part of the executive team. So I'm hoping he will do the same thing also in the federal level, where he's speaking of different religions, different ethnic groups, and he's able to work with everybody and join, because as I already said, I've extended a hand of friendship to all the other parties. And I'm really hoping that this is an opportunity for him to show that he is the president of all Nigerians. You voted or you do not vote, you want him or you don't want him, either way, he's the president of all Nigerians. And I think that the cabinet members, and I also don't want him to take too long in the list of the names. I'm hoping between now and May 29th, they're working assiduously to get us a good name, so that from 29th of May, after he's been sworn in, work starts immediately.
He's already looking to form his cabinet before inauguration, so I think that's a positive.
Yes.
Because last time we waited 6 months.
I waited.
Let us not dwell on
the time that I was hearing when the president-elect was talking, I saw a video recently where he was saying that he's a party man. He supports Buhari, but he's not Buhari. His own leadership style is different. So I am looking for, we need a fresh leadership style in Aso Rock. We need, yes, Buhari was a leader who believed, he had a sort of laissez-faire, but he was also believing that his people were doing their work. He wasn't the type that would pry. I'm hoping. He wanted to do the work.
Please,
I'm hoping president-elect that he would, because those who have worked around him have said that this man, he pays attention to details. There's nothing to bring past him that he doesn't see. So I'm hoping that he bring that to bear, where every single commission, every single agency, know that this new president would ask you. So I'm looking forward to that.
He's always been, according to what I know from Lagos politics that I'm interested in, that he has always had an open door policy where his appointees are close to him.
So
they have access to him. So we don't want to hear that they kidnap people in Kaduna and it takes the president 4 days, 5 days to hear that somebody just said the president. 5 days.
I've been trying to see the president. I can't find him.
You cannot find him. So that, all those kind of narratives that almost made me fall on the set of the show. When I take the page, I'll be like, this thing that we have been talking for, they are just carrying. We don't want that. I know that he's a reader, someone who's in the news as well. So we want to believe that as soon as it's breaking, you are in touch, in tune, in Bama, in as far as Meduguri, in the Chad Basin, anywhere anything is happening, in the east, in the Korokoro of Oka, and Oka is town. I'm looking for the Imbidi, the deep area. You know things that are happening as a president. You are not far apart from your people. And see, we are Nigerians. We don't want our president to be telling us things in the foreign media. It's not up to an interview in London that you deem it fit to address.
When he was governor of Lagos State, he was actually very vocal. He was one of the governors that actually started engaging people. He would do press briefings, he would tell you what he's planning to do. So we hope that would continue, because many people always feel like,
his health system plan is what is working in Lagos. That's the truth. He started the plan with Nuruddin Olopopo was commissioner for health when this mother and child policy idea came up.
And has been adopted across the country.
He died, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
Before he saw the effect of it. But you know, this was somebody who had a plan that has survived over time. We want to see that kind of plan so that everybody is not going for medical treatment in Lagos, in Nigeria. Let other states have the replication of it. You know, now that you have taken Lagos to the national, you have become the president-elect of Nigeria. We want to see a reflection of what you were as governor, even better, a better reflection now, so that you're cutting across all the differences where people hated, where people didn't want, people didn't believe. You are breaking the norms, the beliefs of those people and surprising them with good things. It's important now that, you know, we see that growth and it replicates.
So there's a lot of interagency rivalry. We see police fighting army, we see army fighting this, fighting that. I think the president should try as much as possible to unite those agencies. They need to understand that they are working for the interests of the Nigerian people. The army should not be the enemies of the police should not be the enemies of the FRSC, the FRSC should not be enemies of what's those other LASMA and all of that. They must have clear-cut duties, and everybody must know where their boundaries stop. And if they have to come together to collaborate, they must show example that they are actually uniting it, because this is what some of these criminals and bandits see the loopholes, and that's where they come in. So there must be a uniting of the forces that protects the people.
Yeah. We have not mentioned one.
Quickly correct that. Popo was the CMD Lassos at the time.
Commissioner.
Cash swap, monetary policy.
The last we need to see our money back.
So first of all, you know, there are two sides to this conversation. I know Wike is of the opinion, see, I don't even like this monetary policy, she just go away. Some of us feel the monetary policy is okay, but there has to be a way that is done. So for me, I feel that I would like that we should allow the policy take a much more organic flow, which is over time we return the old one while we're using the new one. And please don't keep us cash strapped. People are still queuing up at ATMs. Banks are still, transfers are still getting stuck. Reversals are still not doing. So please, I would like that to be one of the first things that we sort out, and then maybe our current president, maybe our current president can do something about it.
Can now be, there will be a transition method, and so please, President-elect, take it easy on us. They did not take it easy on us at all. As we were buying fuel, and there was scarcity. We're dealing with that. They bring swap issues. They brought limitation to cash withdrawal. They choke us.
Add exchange rate.
Please, let it be in the, imagine at this time in Nigeria, when we are doing an election with about 300 billion, we are doing we are projecting census. They are doing a temporary census, a test run of the census system, how it's going to go. There's budget for that. We are doing that. There's no scarcity, there's no fuel, there's no this, there's no that. So please, let the policies come, but let them be spacious. Let us adjust to one finish before another one drop.
Then also, one of the other opponents in these elections, one of the things he used to campaign was the fact that there was a lot of monies out there. Corruption was rife. And with that, what I would like the president-elect to do is focus a lot on reduction of the cost of governance. That's a major part. People feel that they're just stealing all the money, and how do you do that? You engage technology, just like they did in Lagos. We've said that the reason why, we were saying, someone was saying this on my page, saying that when people say, Lagos IGR improved, it didn't just improve like a flip of the finger. It was technology that was deployed. Oracle was used because Ashiwaji brought and introduced it. So it was the fact that somebody like the president-elect was able to introduce technology within Lagos. That is how they're able to follow the money. And then the IGR increased the same way here. Cost of governance must reduce such that many things should be automated. The one that are carrying paper from point, somebody can still sign and then use and we can change figures. That's what's causing cost of governance in some areas. So that's one area we hope that the president-elect can deploy technology massively across all agencies so that the cost of governance reduces and productivity increases. That's another feedback for the president. Any comments? We're having issues with our phone lines. We really would have loved to get a lot of calls, but we're having some issues with our phone lines. Let's give you more comments on social media and then we begin to wrap up.
Good Bit says, it's not all about the president. Nigerians in general should want to improve in their mindset in their own little way by doing their jobs.
Okay, he says, all for the ladies on Your View today did good job. All four ladies on Your View today did a good job in my view. No TV Connect program has attempted this type of critical engagement of election issues and Beaver's delays and all of that until now. And he's giving kudos to the ladies.
Any other comments on social media for a wrap up?
Okay.
Yeah. Good bit. That's using the hospital facilities in the country in a dream. If person want travel, go spend his money. Why tell him not to? The president should fix the health sector, irrespective of if he
Let's
uses
just quickly address that. So there's a freedom to use your money as you earn it, unlike until this one that central banks decided to hold on to the money. But there's also the agenda, the Nigerian thing, and it's always from leadership. So we don't want this president-elect to be like President Muhammadu Buhari, whose medical record could not leave the UK since he was a military administrator till he was two-time president of Nigeria, and he says it was for security purpose. Let's be secure. You first secure yourself here. The least you can do is convert the Aso Rock Medical Center to the President's Clinic. There's a presidential hospital there. Make sure you secure that. If you're in control of the amenities of government, how can you now complain that your one place is not secure enough for you to have your medical records here?
Chichi Unscripted finally says, BC well-equipped hospitals for the poor people too is not just the elite. I wasn't speaking about just the elite. All the hospitals, the primary healthcare centers should be equipped.
We have to wrap up now. Our time is fast spent, but I think you have to
already.
Sorry? Yeah, time is up. So I think congratulations to the president-elect is very important at this time. I mean, congratulations to him and his entire team. They fought hard. It wasn't a walkover for anybody.
Let's take this. We need to add to that. Okay. So Bakari Idris says, good morning, ladies of substance. We can only get better about electoral process. However, last presidential election have been the most credible election we have had in the history of democracy. OBJ was subjective about his view. In fact, he had the most compromised elections.
And I think it was even, I think the president-elect was saying it in his speech that, yes, there were reports of violence here and there, but regardless, it was insignificant. That it wasn't really significant enough to change the numbers. Yeah. That's the real truth. No violence we can record or no flawed word we use can actually change the numbers of what we've seen so far. So I think it's worth looking at and accepting, and then seeing how we chart progress forward going forward. But congratulations to the entire team of the APC. Congratulations to the president-elect. And as he said, he will be the president for all, and we're looking forward to his plans and the people he's going to work with. That is really critical, because the president can do one thing, but those around you must do exactly as you're doing, because that's the only way people can see that indeed you are influencing the people around you for the good of the society. That's all we can take on today's show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.